Hey friend, welcome to my podcast, The Fit Soul. I'm your host, Amy Ramsey. In this podcast, we will be discussing soul-filled strategies to unleash your confidence, increase your energy, and all the things healthy lifestyle. If you're a Christian woman who is ready to reach your God-given potential, walk worthy of your calling with abundant joy and energy, girlfriend, you are in the right spot. I mean, you only have one life to live. You might as well maximize it. Buckle in, and thanks for listening. Hello, and welcome back to the Fit Soul podcast. I am your host, Amy Ramsey, and I am so grateful that you are here today listening to this particular podcast. I'm a believer. Things don't happen by accident. So I feel like you're supposed to be listening to this today. And I want to provide you value. I want to help you get to that next place, that next level, that next unlock for your life. Because it just doesn't feel good to feel like even if you're not stuck, but you know that there's more. And trying to unlock that more consistently. And how do you get to it? That's the topic today is how are we going to unlock that next level? And I want to share with you something that happened to me just recently that was super interesting. And it was like a light bulb moment. You know, when you have those things that just happen, you're like, oh, wow. Okay. I didn't know this next level was available inside of me. I hit some new potential. Wow, that felt really good. And I want to share with you that process so you can hit next level and tap into more of your potential that's just there, kind of sitting around, right? So that's the topic of conversation. And one of the things that I love to share with my clients is high performance habits. I'm a certified high performance coach. I help my clients reach heightened levels of clarity, energy, courage, productivity, and influence so they can pursue their goals and reach their potential. And as a coach, I'm constantly coaching myself. And let me just tell you real quick before I share with you how to actually create more activity in your life, not just random activity, but needle moving activity, doing the things that matter most to increase your productivity. I'm going to share with you some strategy for that today, but I want to real quickly invite you to a brand new virtual boot camp I am hosting next week, June 10th, 11th, and 13th. This sucker is powerful. And the first day, I'm going to unlock the 5 mindset triggers, midlife mindset triggers that are holding women back. And then I'm going to share on the next day the framework to overcome the mindset set and to get into alignment. So the first day is about assessment. What's holding me back? Day 2, alignment. How to get into alignment. Day 3 is activation, baby. Let's go. Oh, it's gonna be so good. I'm so dang excited about it. Go down to the show notes and register for free. This is absolutely free. Lots of prizes, lots of giveaways. You don't want to miss it. All right, let me share with you how to really focus in on needle moving activities, and not just that, but unlock some of that potential, a new level inside of you. Because I just did this last week and I was like, what? Wow, that felt good. I need to paint a little picture first, okay? I was struggling big time. I had a lot of deadlines that had to be met. In fact, I was in my business, and it's one of those things that actually cost me literally money out of my pocket if I didn't reach these deadlines, but it put pressure on everyone else and things wouldn't get done. It's this particular job that I was working on, okay? And if I didn't get my stuff turned in, it impacted everyone, but in a way that would hurt me the worst. At the end of the day, it impacted me most and only because it's my business. So let me tell you what happened. I had a lot of uncontrollables in my life. I coach a lot on controllables and uncontrollables. The controllables are the things that you have agency over, that you can actually control. And then you always have uncontrollables, these things that sneak up and they just happen and you've got to deal with it. And it's my goal to manage uncontrollables with the emotional responses that I choose to bring to a situation instead of reactionary. Okay, so let me set this scene for you. I lost my keys the other day. I was down in Florida. I lost the keys. I'm 50 years old at the time of this recording. I've never lost a set of keys ever. I'm very responsible. And I couldn't find these keys anywhere. And I made myself crazy looking for them. I'm going to speed this story up just a little bit because you'll get the gist. It's not going to be too hard. I spent hours looking for these keys. And in that, I was searching in places that I had already searched for. And I was really creative in how I searched for everything. It's a situation that I retraced my steps. I knew everywhere that I was. And then I went into this, before I realized I had lost the keys, I went into this crazy, ridiculous cleaning spree. I was by myself. Things needed to be cleaned up, and one thing led to the other. And then I would go into a closet and I need to put the summer decorations out. And I was running all over the place. And then before I went to bed, I decided to fold a whole bunch of laundry that needed to be folded and put away. And then I rearranged all of my drawers in the closet. Okay. It was a lot got done in that one day. And then the next day I realized I lost my keys. I had been everywhere in my house. So I was looking everywhere. Hours. I added up. I probably spent 5 hours looking for the keys. They're very important keys. They have the key to the house, the key to the car. They had some other things like some of my dog's permits and stuff were on these keys. I didn't have another set. So I had to locate these keys. Number one, I didn't know if maybe they fell outside and did somebody have the key to my house? So it was important. I searched and searched and searched and searched. This was an uncontrollable and I needed to locate these keys. All right. So I lost a lot of time in a very busy week, a week filled with very important deadlines. It was a week before a holiday weekend. It was coming up to Memorial Day weekend. And it was so frustrating. And then I had another really big uncontrollable situation. I had to pick up we have an old Jeep. And this old Jeep, it's fun. It's cute. I don't know. I don't even know if it's cute anymore. It's got these big old tires on it, but a Jeep is great. A Jeep is fun when it works, for crying out loud. This sucker's old. It's like 2003. It actually doesn't have a whole lot of miles on it, but it doesn't always start. We got a new starter on it. We had some work done on this old Jeep. And because it's so old, they don't make certain parts for the Jeep for the starter, for the ignition. And okay, I don't want to get too technical here. I don't even know if you guys can understand this, but apparently with this starter, you're supposed to, when you turn the key to turn the car on, you're supposed to do it in 3 counts. You're supposed to go click, click, click. instead of just moving y'all can't see me. I've got my hand over here acting like I'm starting a car. Y'all can't see that. Oh, well. So you do a click, click, click. That wasn't working. We had to get this Jeep fixed because it did not start consistently unless you had a hammer and you went up underneath the Jeep and hit one thing. It's apparently the starter. It's a white thing underneath the Jeep. Okay, so you get the picture here. The starter had to be fixed. I was doing a favor for Randy, trying to help him out with this Jeep that's on my last nerves. Really, it's on my last nerves because it breaks down and it doesn't start and it's frustrating, but I'm helping him out. So a friend of mine drove me all the way across town to pick up the Jeep. It was at the repair shop. On the way home, guess what? She dropped me off. I've got the Jeep. It starts great. On the way home, it broke. I stopped somewhere to run a quick little errand, and I could not start it again. It's like, oh my gosh, you've got to be kidding me. Okay, I was able to get an Uber. They picked up. They had to tow the Jeep, bring it right back. I was literally 5 minutes from the shop. But I had to get an Uber myself all the way back home. I was about beside myself. And so I had this very frustrating, I was so frustrated, and I had this angst that was rising up. I'm like, I am supposed to be doing all of the things, all of these deadlines. I had all of this stuff to do, and I had another big freaking uncontrollable lost time. So I just wanted to paint that little picture. I had these things going on that were important things that were sucking my time dry. And I had very urgent deadlines. And so I lost this time. I lost the time that I needed to turn stuff in. So I'm down to the very last day. I had to get some recordings done. I had to turn them in. And let me tell you what happened. I get up the next day. I'm like, okay, you've got to do this. You don't have time to waste. You don't have time to overthink. Because a lot of what was going on in my mental dialogue, my inner dialogue was, I am so frustrated. I cannot believe this has happened. I am so overwhelmed. And I was repeating that over and over again. Oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed. How am I going to get all of this done? So I get up the very next day to go and do the things that I needed to do. And I kid you not, as I'm ready to start recording, and for any other content creator friends, they can probably relate to the struggle of creating videos and being able to pop them out. Like, I re-record so many things over and over and over again, and it takes me a long time, especially if it's for like a new program or a new product I'm launching. And I was getting ready. So I had these things to record. I got up, and another uncontrollable. I had somebody come into the house to work on the house, and they were going to be outside, which is where I was recording these things. They were going to be there starting at 8:00 in the morning, and they were going to be there for a majority of the day. So I want to tell you that I had to get it done. I no longer had another day to wait. I had to turn all of this in. And what typically I would have budgeted 5 hours for, I realized I've got 15 minutes and that's it. I had my hair on, I had my makeup on, I had my fake eyelashes on, like I was all ready to go. And then somebody shows up at my house and I realize, oh my gosh, okay. And so here was the unlock I had. The unlock I had was, stop saying you're overwhelmed, Amy. The inner dialogue that you have right now is making things worse. Start speaking life over yourself and over the situation that you have, and go do it. This was a result producing activity that had to be done. And if I allowed myself to continue in the narrative that I was overwhelmed, I can't believe all these things are happening, I'm stuck, I'm frustrated, then I was never going to accomplish what I needed to accomplish. And now my back's against the wall, and I stopped overthinking. I stopped allowing my inner dialogue to sabotage me from moving forward. And I know that all of this sounds kind of like, oh, Amy, wait, I thought you were going to have like this huge aha moment. So here's the big aha. Number one is, what is your inner dialogue? What are you saying? If you are saying to yourself over and over again, oh, I'm not good enough to do that, then that is going to be your reality. Oh, I'm fearful, or I'm afraid, or I'm not confident enough, or I'm insecure. The more that you rehearse the negative mindsets, the negative thoughts, the negative narrative, the more you are solidifying it in your mind. And as a woman thinketh, so is she. As a man thinketh, so is he. So what you're thinking is going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. So what are you focusing on? What are your thoughts? Take an assessment of your thoughts when you're feeling, when you're in the struggle. Where are your thoughts in that moment? And shift them. Man, we've got the power to shift our thoughts. And the scripture tells us to take every thought captive. But we have to be aware before we can take it captive. And that's, I think, one of the biggest problems that most people have. They're just not even aware of what they're thinking and how their thoughts are running amok in their mind. I work with so many women, and thoughts of fear and doubt and insecurity plague them to the point to where they're not moving forward in the things that they want to move. In their health, they just have lost all confidence because of that. So, back to my story. I had all of these uncontrollable situations and circumstances, and my back is against the wall. And here's the point number one, really assess your inner dialogue. Number two, give yourself a timeline. I said, self, let's go knock this out right now, because you do not have time to spend 5 hours on this, which is what it normally takes you. That's what I normally block out for this. And to wrap up this story and this podcast, I could not believe, by shifting the dialogue in my head, stopping the negative narrative, and then actually speaking some life over myself, and said, you've got this, Amy. You can do this. You can do this in one take or two. You've done this before. You know exactly what to do. Part of that I didn't fully believe. Like I didn't have that much confidence, but that's what I started to tell myself. You've done this before. You can do this right now. You don't have an option. You will do this excellently. I just started talking to myself. And what normally takes me about 5 hours, I knocked it out in 15, well, maybe 30 minutes. 30 minutes. There was several things I had to do. 30 minutes. Oh my goodness. I didn't know that was possible for this particular task. I really didn't. Like, I shocked myself. So give yourself a deadline. It stopped my overthinking. It stopped my procrastination. I hope this was helpful. Watch your inner dialogue and give yourself a short timeline to do it. And watch your productivity increase. It's really a great feeling. But so much of our struggles are tied to our negative mindsets. And so I want to encourage you to join me in the 3-day virtual boot camp. The first day, we are talking about the 5 midlife mindset triggers and what to do about it. And so you'll come out with a personalized approach for you to get activated and to move forward. Because listen, you are needed and necessary. Your voice, your mission, and maybe you haven't felt like you've had a mission in a long time, but you've got one. It's all needed. It's all necessary. We're called as Christians to walk worthy of our calling. I literally just got off of a coaching call with my Walk Worthy mentorship, and I can't read it right now, but go look that up, Ephesians 4:1 in the Amplified Version. Like, use the Bible app. And it talks about walking worthy is with personal integrity. It's with moral courage. It takes courage. It takes so much courage. Oh my goodness. And also spiritual maturity. Like, it's a growth. It is growing. It is embracing. It is becoming. It's being able to say, yeah, I am actually moving forward. I'm no longer stuck. No longer allowing these things to hold me back. And I really want to help you with that. So come join me in the midlife boot camp. That link is in the show notes of this. I believe it's actually thefitsoul.com/bootcamp. I am so excited to break down how to overcome these things and help you figure out a roadmap for yourself. It's my mission. It's truly my mission to help women walk worthy of their calling. I stayed stuck for so many years, and I see so many women doing the same thing, that I just want to help you get unlocked, get unstuck, and move forward. Okay, thanks so much for being here and listening to this podcast. I really, really, really appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Have an incredible day. Girlfriend, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I'm so honored you come back every week and that you share the Fit Soul podcast with your friends and family. Every time you share my podcast on Instagram or Facebook, I do a little happy dance. Make sure you subscribe to the Fit Soul podcast, where you'll never miss an episode. You can go to Podcast, Apple, Stitcher, and Spotify and subscribe so you'll never miss an episode release. And just know, I truly love bringing you excellent content and great guests to provide you motivation and faith inspiration to help you walk worthy. And one of the ways you can help me is to go and leave the Fit Soul podcast a review. If you have just a moment, would you please go over and leave a review for the Fit Soul podcast? Thank you again. I love you. And here is your reminder. You are worthy. Until next time. Bye-bye.